That it's all right, you know, to grow up and to let go of people.
100%.
Or it's all right for you to outgrow people in relationships. It's all right for you to not speak to people anymore. But what I liked about what he said was that, but I still got love for you. Like anyone that I'm talking about, I got love for them. I have experiences with them. I got memories with them. I don't hate you.
In another way,
But we're just, we don't have the same energy. You partake in things I don't care to take part in anymore. I tell you stuff, you don't listen. I'm in situations all the time because of you. And so I get it how it could look like, oh, like you might think like you're better than this. No, I'm just saying from my point of view, I got things to think about now. I got a family, I got my reputation, I got my career. Can't call me to come down to Whitechapel because you got passer like we did when we were 16. I've already been bottled once or twice on your behalf. I ain't doing that again at 31. Bro, coming home with a bottle. What happened to you? Oh, I got into passer because so and so called me. It's like, no, we ain't 16 no more.
Honestly.
Okay. Welcome to another Goodman Factory podcast. You're here today with my boy Goodman Brian. We're here again with Goodman D. We've got Goodman Malik there on the camera, and you got myself, Goodman Manny. Thank you again. Before we start, just going to give you a quick plug. So if you go on the Goodman Factory website, www.goodmanfactory.com, type in GPOD1, get yourself a discount code. Brian literally just said, now, if you're a man, you don't use the discount code. But please use the discount code, 15% off, and you can treat yourself or treat someone else in your family or a friend with some great Goodman Factory products. So just to go straight into it today, we're going to talk about a few things, but I think the overarching message is kind of like friendships and where we are with our long-term friendships and maybe the power of the internet and how that kind of impacts our friendships, but also how it might develop potential friendships that we might not have imagined before. So the question I'm going to pose, I guess, to our guest today, do you think it's possible to create genuine friendships today? In the time or in the era where, you know, social media is prevalent in all of our lives, we're on it, whether we like it or not, pretty much most of the day. And in some cases, you might actually speak to people on the internet far more than you speak to actual friends or people that you classed as friends. So, you know, I guess I'm going to put it out there. So do you think it's possible for you to create genuine friendships still today?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I think even more so now than ever. Because, back in the day, how'd you make a friend? School, area, work. You know, school, area, work, that's it, right? Versus now, it's based on interest. So if I'm interested in comics, I can find someone online. But there might be no one in my area that likes comics. You're just going to get lucky with that, innit? You're going to get lucky with someone from school. You're going to get lucky with someone from work. But if we go on the internet, you can find thousands and millions of people that like comics. If I'm interested in cement, I can go find people that are interested in cement or bricklaying, right? Versus back in the day, it's whoever you get. You know what I mean? You might someone come into, you work in Marks and Spencer's in Oxford Street, right? Someone's coming from west, north, east. We just, because we're in the same place. Oh, you're black, you're the same height as me, you're the same age. We work in the same place, we're friends. Do you know what I mean? Area, oh, your mum moved here 2 years ago, my mum moved here 5 years ago. Oh, we're friends. By force. School, oh, you live over there, I live over here. Oh, we're friends. You don't get to choose. But now you get older and you move away from your childhood friends because you all got different interests. Some of them getting married, some of them are buying cars, some of them are buying houses, some of them are still partying, some of them are traveling. They're doing different things. You've all got different interests, so you move apart. Whereas on the internet, you just post about what you're interested in. And then you attract people that are also interested in that. And then you have multiple friends based on different interests and how much you like those interests.
I'm gonna just quickly like interject there. Just a quick question. So do you think that the people that you meet online that you may have built a rapport with, can you build a rapport with someone if you ever met them?
Yeah.
I need to look at the definition of that rapport.
Yeah,
I always wondered if that could only happen in the physical sense. But you can build a rapport with someone online, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going off of that definition, do you think you can actually call somebody that you've met online a friend?
Yeah, I got a friend.
If you've never potentially met them?
I've got a friend I've never met.
Yeah, so Dean's at all, but yeah, so...
I've got a friend I never met. Shout out Young Bogus Boy.
Do you know what? That's actually a good question because I'm very, like, I'd have to, in order for personally, I'd have to meet you and obviously get that vibe in person because let's be real, online, meeting someone online and meeting someone in person, it's two different things. But yeah, I do think you can meet a friend online and build genuine connections and genuine relationships online and a genuine rapport. Just going off what Brian said, I feel like doing that, it's a lot more intentional, you know what I mean? Because like you have interests, like you were saying about like comic books and whatnot, you know, you get to a certain age and you're like, you get into your way, like things that you love and things that you like. And then when you go online, you're like, oh, my man or my girl has the same interests as me. You know, let me reach out. Let me, do you know what I mean? Or let me even seek more knowledge. Like, oh, did you see that episode of blah, blah, blah? Or, oh, do you know when this is, do you know what I mean? So you develop genuine, I do feel like it is genuine online, but it's a lot more risque, should I say? Because it's like you're putting yourself out there. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself out there maybe for rejection or maybe for the person might not might not have the same interest, not the same interest, but might not, you know, feel to have that conversation or whatnot. So it is a lot more, it's different, I would say.
And jump in there with the rejection, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're saying that, but you're more likely to be rejected for the things that you like from the people that you know at work, at your school or everything, than you are to meet somebody online. For instance, growing up, let's say I'm into, I don't know, cameras and art. You know, I'm into a lot of art. I didn't have no artist friends around me. So I couldn't really be my real artist self. Do you know what I mean? Because like, oh yeah, he does art. Ha. Or you might have liked the trainers that not everybody liked, but you couldn't do it. You had to go and buy the trainers that everybody liked because, oh, you like those ugly trainers. Ha. So even because you're forced to, you know, hang around people that are just in your close proximity because that's where you ended up. You're in South and you're repping South London now. You're repping North Wheezy or wherever it is you're repping it by force because you were born there. Whereas on the internet, nothing is by force. You can actually be your true self because there is going to be somebody else that likes that.
Yeah, I agree to a degree in that.
Whereas with your friends, you might hide yourself.
I don't think everybody on the internet is always being their true self.
Oh, of course not.
I agree.
But I think
they are.
individuals that are being their true self can connect with other individuals who are being their true self and genuinely build a rapport. But I was just thinking to myself, like, there's... Oh, I just lost my train of thought.
But even saying that, if you're faking in real life, you're probably fake on the internet and vice versa. If you're fake on the internet, you're probably fake in real life.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So, like, thank you. Just reminded me. So I was saying that I guess the good thing about the internet is like now you can really like channel, like you can really kind of like hone in on the things you like and the people that you like. So that are you like Twitter? I think is a better example than Instagram because with Instagram, maybe I'm being a bit biased, but like you kind of follow people based on the aesthetics.
Yeah,
like how the person looks,
100%.
maybe how their page looks, you know, especially once upon a time it was just literally, is this person good looking or whatever, do I want to follow them, unless you know them. Whereas I think with Twitter, you follow people because you like what they talk about and say. And what they talk about is more of a reflection of how they are as opposed to the picture they've posted 100%. On a Sunday. So I think that's key, I think, because you can genuinely meet people that you get along with way better than the people you've grown up with. Because the people that we've grown up with, we are just friends as a result of going to the same school. We grew up in the same community. Our common thing is our area. And our area isn't always a positive thing to kind of like bring us together. But I think on the internet, if you love anime, for example, you will follow other people that love anime.
100%.
Like, you know, you hear terms like football Twitter, like education Twitter, you know, like Fiat 500 Twitter, like wherever you're going to call it. But, you know, there's a certain group of people that you will follow and it's possible, definitely possible that over a period of time, following the same type of people that have the same type of interests, you build genuine relationships with people that you may never ever meet. So I know you're saying you have to meet someone, but I think it's also possible to not meet someone and build a great relationship. I'll give you an example, it just made me think about it now. So I'm trying to find a way to say it where I don't expose too much. So back in the day, I used to do music, basically.
What, rapping, singing?
Rapping. So I used to rap, you know, like spoken word, like all of that stuff. I loved it. And so I grew quite a decent following at the time through my music, SoundCloud, Twitter, and stuff. And there was someone that used to follow me that used to love the music I put out. So that's why we followed each other. She'd always rate my videos, send me a message, blah blah blah. Years went on. I stopped like making music. I wouldn't say I rebranded I just stopped making music. So that wasn't really what I was tweeting about or anything anymore. and I'd got into education now. I'd been working in the profession for a few years. Long story short, same person that used to like talk about my music with me was asking me to consult on her charity project. So now we've moved our conversation from Twitter to on the phone, and I'm basically telling her, these are the things that you need to do to ensure that you can guarantee a certain amount of funding. This is how you create a proposal. These are the policies. This is how you meet pupil premium, stuff related to education, because she had no experience of that. And then, like, you know, after a year of doing that consultation with her, she just said, you know what, I want you to be a director of this charity project, because, you know, like, we need another male influence on there. Your expertise in the area of youth projects and project management, blah, 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 we could do with that. Long story short, I've been a part of this charity project for 4 years, been a director of it for 3 years, and only up until maybe 4 years ago, I'd met the person, but it was 2010 or 9 when we first got in contact. So that's years of just building a rapport with each other, genuinely through music. She loved hip hop music, grime like I did, so that's all we ever spoke about. Years down the line, we're older now, in our mid to late 20s. She's got a charity project. I love the idea of it. I consult with her. She says, can you be a director for my company? I say yes. You know, 4 years now, this charity project's run. It's impacted hundreds of kids across South London. And it doesn't even occur to us, I didn't know you before. It's the perfect example of, I met you through Twitter. You see, and so sometimes I have to remind myself that actually the internet is there to be a positive way to meet people. Whereas I myself, once upon a time, used to have that kind of view that actually, like, nah, like your friends, your boys are your real friends. Everyone else is just like online friends or online people. But like you said, there's people that I've met that I've got a better relationship than some of my boys, you know. I speak to them more. They reach out to me more. They support my stuff way more than some of my friends have ever done. So it's definitely possible, I think, to connect with people online.
You know what I like about internet friends or people that you meet on the internet? When you have friends from back in the day, they treat you back like with the perception of
How you was?
who you were, or who they want you to be, or who they're comfortable with you being in it. And that's how they treat you. Do you know what I mean? You might hear a snide comment, or they might bring up the old jokes or the old you. Thinking like, no, man, I'm not doing music anymore, man. I'm not doing road anymore. Man's not doing football anymore. Man's not doing fashion. Man's like, we're humans. We all grow in it. We all want to transform and change into somebody else and something else. You know, for the most part in it. So then, when you meet internet people, they meet you as you want to be met based on what you're showing them, isn't it? So if you're showing them, oh, you're doing music, okay, I'll meet you where we're doing music. Oh, you changed now, okay, I'll meet you there. You know what I mean? And that's the privilege that you get from me and internet friends. They meet you based on where you show them, not when you were 16 and you robbed a shop and they want to keep bringing it up or laughing at you or you had no swag or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like now you got swag. It's like they won't let you forget. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily in a bad way, but you know, just joking. You think, all right, let it go, let it go. The girl dumped me once. Okay, cool. I remember I was crying. I cried to you. All right, cool. Let it go. Do you know what I mean? Type of thing. So yeah, that's one of the things I like about internet friends as well. They don't know you. So they have no perception of you. They have no preconceived notions about who they think you are, who they want you. They don't want to keep you in a place. They just want you to be you, and you can be whoever you want to them
and allow you to grow. That just to go back on what E's story. That's actually a very encouraging story and proper dope story. But leaves me with a question. Like, so does that mean like the internet can allow you to like form and build bridges with people? Because that was like listening to that. You've met her at one point in your life. You stopped doing something, and then obviously you connected through the music, and then it's like she got a sense to know part of you through the music, but then through that, it's like she gave those room for growth. You know what I'm trying to say? The relationship grew, the working relationship was formed, and so yeah, that just showed that's powerful because that does show the internet is there for a reason. You know what I mean? And just to go back, I'm not even to because I love my friends, all my friends, like friends that I've met on the internet. Even I got friends that I've grown up with, really close friends that I've kept close. And I feel like it's a different dynamic, you know, because you're saying something about preconceptions. And that's what our friends that we've gone to school with and whatnot, they're always going to have, because it's like, I feel, they know you, innit? You know what I'm trying to say, kind of thing. Not always a bad thing sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's sometimes with my friends, my close friends that I've known from school and whatnot, it's a sense of I can vent to them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Without no judgment, I can have real conversations with them. Like I could say something on Wednesday and change my mind on Friday and be like, no, that's not how I feel. Like it's a safe space. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like it's not even. I'm not trying to like the two.
Can go hand in hand.
Can go hand in hand. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have friendships simultaneous. And I guess on that point, what I like about friendships generally is I don't think it's a bad thing to have different friendship groups.
Oh no,
Definitely not.
I think there's a strength in that, in fact. Like before I left to go uni, I had like my school friends, and then part of that was like my boys from ends, like from East Ham. But then I went to uni and I made uni friends. One of them being Malik. You know, we met before uni, but like, you know, we also went to uni together, and we've got a group of friends we was talking about earlier, Brian. We got a group of friends that they are uni boys, but I got mad love for them. As in like they're like my lifelong friends. We often meet and have reunions. But then I've got other groups of friends, like, you know, like just another group of friends through another way that we met, and I think that's a good thing. I don't actually think that you necessarily have to have just like one group, and that means it, because you get different things from different people in those different groups. Yeah, but I think it's also being realistic. Like someone asked me recently, it might have actually been my partner. She said, you know, how many friends do you have? And it took me a while to like answer that, because and then I had to remind myself that actually there's a difference between friends and acquaintances. And I've got many acquaintances, but very few friends. And that's because I go by the definition. Well, actually, I don't have a specific definition, but what I think of a friend isn't necessarily how often I speak to them. I don't even think there's a definition that I could give you that you could apply and that you could apply. So it's just something. It's something I feel for the person individually. You get it? Like what I've got for one of my friends. What I love about that friendship is very different from one of my other boys. I could give you an example. One of my boys, he checks in on me all the time. Like he calls me every couple of days. How's it going on? He's my daughter's godfather. You know, what's how's she doing? What's she up to? Gives her money, buys her presents, just shows up, turns up. Anything I need, even if I say to him, no, it's cool, I'm going to research it, he sent it to my house. Or he's bought it for me. And I'll be like, let me just quickly pay it back to you. And he never, ever lets me pay. So it's just like there's a dynamic with that. Reliable is the word I'm going to give to him. Reliable. Anything I need, if I call him now, you know, if my ex-girlfriend messed up, he's at her house, there's a brick through a window. That's the kind of, and you wouldn't even know it's him that's done it. He's so undercover. He'll go to work with his shirt and tie. You won't know in the office this guy's a madman for his friends. That's that friend.
Windows.
That's what I'm saying to you. But then I got other friends where it's just like what I value in that friendship is different. Like I've known you since we were in primary school, secondary school. We went to college together. We set up a football academy together. So that one is like the length of time as well as like what we've gone through, what we've achieved, what we've built together. And I could go on and on, but there's not a massive amount of friends. Like I could maybe one hand, possibly two hands, you get it. But then I couldn't say that they're all the same, but they're friends for different reasons. But then I'm also aware that actually there are a lot of other people that they're acquaintances and there's nothing wrong with that. I might use the word friends loosely. They might even be over at my house. I might be over at their house. People might associate us like all the time. Our children might play with each other, whatever. And I use the word friend, generally speaking, when people be like, oh, is that your friend? Yeah, that's my friend. As you would do, like, you know. But when everything's when the curtains are closed, the doors are closed, I know who the actual friends are that I could rely on, that I would trust to look after my daughter if anything happened to me, look after my wife. Those that if I called you, I know you're going to be there to help me in any way. If I needed a loan, you're going to get it for me. I don't have to feel nervous about venting to you. And there's only a select few of them. And so my point was that it's good to have different friendship groups, but it's also okay to accept that not everyone's your friend. There are acquaintances and that's fine. And even with acquaintances, there's levels to it. You get it?
Too many friends is a lot of trouble, man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's your wife's birthday, it's your kid's birthday, it's your mom's birthday, it's your birthday, you're getting married, you're having a baby shower, you're doing this. If you have 10 friends doing that, you're broke. and you don't have time to work anyway because you're keeping up with all your friends. You want to go out on Friday, this one wants to do that. Too many friends is... You're going to need a book just to keep up with them. like a freaking CRM management flipping software. Like You know what I mean? So yeah, you can't have too much friends anyway. You don't have enough time. You got work.
Facts. So you have your own life.
Yeah.
No, facts. No, it's true. It's true, man. It's like vulnerability, innit? Like you got friends that you can be vulnerable with and not feel no way. So what do you with like? How do you deter? Okay, so for example, meeting people online, because I've met. The thing about online as well, you can meet like really good working relationships as well. Do you know what I mean? You have like working relationship, like people you work well with, you worked with before, and you're like, oh, you know what? I have a really good working relationship with this person. Like to repeat it or whatever. You may repeat it, kind of thing. And I feel like understanding different types of relationships, just as friendships as well. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just as important as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was just food for thought. Listening to E speak.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, because there's people that I work with, and I think working relationships or people that you meet at work, it's always kind of like, it can be a bit confusing because when you work with people, you're with them every single day.
You do for long as
Get
well.
it to the point where some people have work wives and work husbands and work auntie and work dad, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you could be with these people maybe more hours than you are with your actual family, and so you can understand why if you build a good relationship with these people, you could get into the thinking that actually these people are my friends. But I've seen it work in both ways, where it's like you've got such a great working relationship with people that you trust them, you look at them, you might even be in awe of them in some ways, and then they do something either to you indirectly or to someone else, and you see them and you're like, oh wait, I didn't like that. Like, you know, maybe you're not my people like that way, or maybe it brings you back down to earth and it's just like you're just my colleague. You know,
That always happens at work. You always realize,
yeah,
I was stupid.
yeah. But with that said, there's people that I've worked with, and maybe not for a massive long length of time, and like we'll be in touch for the next 10 years. You get it? Like, and that's just purely based on our work relationship. We might not be of similar age, not even similar background, ethnic background, different experiences, but we just had such a great connection. After work, we're still going to message each other. You might travel across the world. We're still talking to each other. So I think sometimes work can also have those blurred lines as well, where it's just like you think people are your friends, and then you remember that actually you're just a work colleague that I do like during working hours. But outside of this, I'm not sure if this is going to work. And then the other way is actually you make literally like lifelong friends with the people that you work with.
Never had the privilege of making a friend at work.
Never?
Nah.
Swear down.
I'm a graphic designer, bro.
Really?
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
White male industry. Every time I go work, it's white people. All white people. Most of the time, it's all white people. So
And so is the point in that you feel kind of like, you never really feel you never feel like you could be yourself.
I'll be in the
basically.
corner, I'll go eat lunch by myself, I'll sit by myself, we'll have a little chat. But, you know, you're talking about how 1974 was one of the greatest movies you saw, and I'm talking about Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the score was good, man. And when they hit the beach of Normandy, and I'm like, yo, do you see when he uppercutted Killmonger? And we don't know what we're talking about.
You
know what I mean? So, yeah. So, but I've worked in places like TFL, conservatives, different consultancies and stuff like that. These are white people's businesses. I'm usually the only black person there. There's that culture gap. Do you know what I mean? So I got locks. Do you know what I mean? I'm from South. I'm gonna be me. You know, I'm not gonna try and assimilate, and they're not gonna try and connect with me. Do you know what I mean? I've been to the workplace, and one guy was like, "Yo, I don't see nothing wrong with gentrification. It's good. I need a Starbucks next to my house and go down." And I was just like, "Oh my god, yeah, of course you would say that because you're trying to move into Brixton and get the Starbucks. But what about the people that's been in there for 25 years, feeding their family, selling furniture, and he's being priced out? And he can't now. What's he gonna do? It's good for you." And I was speaking to him, and he's like, he didn't get it. But it's the same person that was complaining that his sister went to private school and he doesn't get to go to private school. And the person next to him saying that, oh, how skiing school was so hard one summer. And I'm looking at that, wow, private, you're crying because your parents weren't rich enough when you were born to send you to private school. But now your sister's going to private school and she's even going to another one because she doesn't like the one where she's at.
First world problems.
And I'm sitting there like, wow, and gentrification is good. Interesting.
I guess that's the reason why I do think it's good for people to, like, when I say mix, I mean that's why it's good for people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
But that's why diversity in the very loose buzz term, That's why I think it's good, because that kind of conversation, whether he agreed or listened to you or not,
He
or
wasn't,
took it
but
home, he's not going to get someone that's going to challenge him or at least question that way of thinking. That's lived in Brixton, from Brixton, and seen what Brixton was like before you had the Starbucks and the nice flower shops and all the coffee shops now on the main road. You knew what it was like before. This is a home to you, and I don't think he would understand, or at least have that opportunity to have that conversation if he didn't speak to someone like you. So,
and we didn't really have a conversation. I was just telling him about it, and he was like, okay, yeah, cool.
yeah,
But
still on my Starbucks coffee though.
yeah, you know, I grew up in Clapham, so there's like 2 Starbucks there. So, but yeah, there's certain places you're gonna go, especially for someone like me. I'm a graphic designer, innit? There's loads of black graphic designers, but they ain't really compared to how much maybe white people there are, and there's even probably less women doing graphic design as well. So there's that. So you're not necessarily gonna meet. I'm not gonna go to work and meet other black people. They might be in another department. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was working in TFL, I had a project management friend. Do you know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, we chopped it up, but we're not sitting next to each other. She's in another room and might link up at lunch or see each other in the hallway. But for the most part,
yeah, it's not the same.
you might be chilling by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not really going to create that friendship because you've got no affinity. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, we talk about some stuff, but for the most part, we live in 2 different worlds.
Yeah, I'm quite fortunate, I guess. I'm not like you in that I'm gonna be in different spaces all the time. For me, I'm in the same space every day, Monday to Friday, all year round. And I guess the job that I do is centered around people and a service to people. So I'm fortunate that I work with people, and I love that part about my job. I think if I had a 9-to-5 job and it was like office based or similar to the experience that you just mentioned, I might not enjoy it as much. But because every day I'm working with people, I'm working with little people, I'm working with their families, their parents, I get to meet people all the time. So some of them might not necessarily be people I ever want to see again or talk to again, but
I even had a crazy experience.
more options of people.
So I was working in Kenya in 2017 on their general election. So I was doing a Conservative general election, and my manager was like, hey, I got a friend in Kenya, they need a graphic designer, can you fly out? Meanwhile, my wife is like 6 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant, she's about to blow. And they're like, oh, you want to go for 2 months? And I was going to come back 10 days before my son was going to be born. So I was like, so I go. And I was like, I know she's going to tell me to go. And she's like, but can I come there? I was like, you can't come, innit? She's like, going to tell you to go. So anyway, she told me to go, I went. So I was with, you know that Facebook had that scandal with the Cambridge Analytica. And it was like, stealing all people's data and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
so
a while ago.
So it was that company I went there with.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so yeah. I brought to bare shady companies, trust me. Listen, just pay me, man. Just pay me. I ain't got no morals when it comes to working and getting money. So I was with over there with them. So the project manager, the leader of the team, she was a older Asian woman. But everyone on the team, there was like 3 other white conservatives. Another guy even worked for what's that purple political BNP?
BNP?
Yeah. There's a political party, it's purple, and it had like the pound sign. I can't remember, it just left me. But
British National, is it BNP?
Is it BNP?
BNP it's a political group, but whether it's the one that you're talking about, I'm not sure. But
I can't remember. Anyway, it's purple, they got the pound sign, it was yellow, I can't remember what it was called, but he worked for them. The person I was working with, he was the guy that made the bus. We're taking 300 million out of the EU. He just made it up. He told me he just made it up. So it's bare secrets, bare shades. Anyway, so I was working with 3 white people: an older white man, a younger white woman, and a middle-aged white woman, about in her 30s, and a younger white boy, younger than me. And I was about 27 at the time, so he was about in his 20s. Anyway, and then the Asian lady was the head. So there was loads of problems in terms of dynamics. So we're in Kenya, and then there's a Kenyan social team. These are young boys, and they're all black, and they were all trying to be pally with me, like, yeah, let's go out, let's do this. But I'm over here with my English team, and my white people, my Asian, and there was loads of, it was just loads of racial tension. Like, oh, she had the Asian lady had a bad experience with white people back in the day. They got some dogs on her, and she had to go under a car, and all these kind of stories that came out when she was drunk. So the team dynamic was messed up because we all came from different cultures and backgrounds, so we couldn't really make friends because we couldn't connect. Do you know what I mean? And then I had the Kenyan guys like, yeah, Brian, because I'm the only black one there on the white people's team. Do you know what I mean? But I couldn't go over there because it was like
you're leaving your work colleagues.
But then I wasn't hanging around with my work colleagues. a lot.
Mm.
So it was so fragmented in terms of how can I actually connect with really anybody, because I'm on such a multicultural, multi-age, multifaceted team that are coming from different places with different experiences. And that's, again, making friends at work.
Mm.
Everybody's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with the internet. Yeah, everyone's coming from somewhere else, but we're all like, we're all interested in this one thing. So it doesn't matter where I'm coming from. As long as we're interested in this thing, we are friends.
Mm.
Whereas even though we're all working together, we're forced to work together because of money. So I don't really care, per se about the thing we're actually working on. I don't care about no Kenyan government. That's not going to affect me. So even though we're all working to one goal, there's still loads of division in between us because none of us really care about what we're working on here, isn't it? It's not. It's a job.
Mm.
So when it's at work, I feel like it's so much more forced. So I've never had a friend. I tell you, I used to work in Sainsbury's and I made a friend in Sainsbury's, but that's a bit easier when you're stacking shelves in and you talk to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when it's like your career and that, you do get that thing where it's like, oh, it's just work.
Yeah.
It's just work.
I do think though that with work and friendships, hey, you've made it halfway through the episode, and just for doing that, we want to celebrate you. So we're going to give you an opportunity to get a discount code, not 15%, no, it's going to be 30%. So what we're going to ask for you to do is type in HTGM on www.goodmanfactory.com, HTGM, and get yourself a 30% discount code for being such a loyal subscriber. Thank you. The conversation is a bit more complex in that I think it also then depends on your line of work and what you do. Like the example you just gave, I can completely understand why diversity goes wrong. Like, but I imagine, like, so D, you're an actor, right?
Yeah.
So making the assumption, I've already spoke about my experience. I work in education, so the people that I'm working with, generally speaking, 70% of the time, they want to work with young people. You'd be surprised how many people don't seem to like young people and work in education. But most of the time, they want to work in education. They want to create positive outcomes for young people. That's what we have in common. And I think for a lot of people, they do create good friends at work. You're an actor.
Yeah.
So you work in the acting industry. What's your perspective on friendships and developing friendships, and I guess maybe how authentic they are, and whether it's possible or not?
Yeah, I feel like definitely I've a lot of friends that I've lifelong friends that I've met through work. There's a director lady, love her to bits, man. Tundai, I'm just gonna shout her out. She's amazing. I remember first time connecting with her, and she reached out to me, and it was just like the first, because bearing in mind, like you said, being an actor, like go on stage, you've got to be vulnerable, and it's like even in that first, for example, I done a first thing for her called Phil's, and then we got into a space, 4 black boys in a space, and you're rehearsing, and imagine, so bro, I'm gonna have to, these boys or these men, they're gonna see man for who man is. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We're spending a period of time, let's say 2 months rehearsing or whatever. Bro, they're gonna see me on my good day, they're gonna see me on my bad day, they're gonna see me, you know what I mean? And vice versa. So I feel like through that you develop if not a friendship, a respect, because it's like, okay, we're here to serve this purpose to this play, and our director has brought us all together, kind of thing. But why I say that? Why I say I've met a lot of lifelong friends, because I feel like, especially like with women, a lot of platonic good relationships, that's shifted my way of thinking. You know what I mean? That shifted my perspective, and that's had me think, raw. I was so narrow-minded this way, like I didn't even think about this. Do you know what I'm trying to say, kind of thing? And it really did. That's why I say, like, it's just people, like stuff like that I've learned helps me go on in my real life. And after I leave that space, I'm left with all the good stuff and all the things we've discussed and whatnot. And it actually it makes a change for how I move forward in my life. So that's why I say, like, for what I do, like, first you're gravitated towards the person because of the work, and then obviously you get to understand the person a bit more. Like, and the reason why I say Tundai as well, she's a feminist. You know what I'm trying to say? There were certain things that she was talking about, and there's certain things. And I remember my views on feminism before was very, very not tainted, but I didn't understand it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But the way she broke it down to me and the conversations we had, I was like, raw, like.
You get it a bit more.
Yeah, I get it a bit more, and I'm actually interested. Like I'm an advocate for it. Like I get it. Like the way you express your feminism, I love it, and yeah, I'm here for it, kind of thing. So it's just learning, different things that's what's helped me with those relationships at work. I've learned a lot, like definitely.
I love that, yeah, because that's one of the best things about the internet. Even though you're stuck in your own kind of loop, like, oh, if I like Dragon Ball Z, I'm gonna just see all the Dragon Ball Z stuff, and if I like swag, I'm just gonna get mostly people wearing swag and whatnot, right? But every so often, you might get a peek into somebody else's world or another part. Like you was saying about Twitter earlier. Yeah, Twitter is literally bubbles, venture capitalist Twitter, or money Twitter, or comedy Twitter. Twitter is just, that's what I love about Twitter. It's like, if you're black, you're automatically in black Twitter. But whatever you do, you're in black Twitter. Black people are following you. Black people, you know what I mean? And you hear about all the black topics, whether it's the ZZ Mills or this happened or that happened or who's saying what and whatever, right?
Facts.
You hear about it even when you don't. And that's me. I hear about stuff I don't care about. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm in black Twitter. By force, because I'm black. Even though I'm only interested in content marketing and branding. things that just is boring, innit? Like, but that's what I'm interested in, right? And you're in these tweets, but every now and then something might just appear on your timeline because somebody else liked it or retweeted it or whatever, right? Or just shared it to their stories on Instagram or whatever, or Snapchat, or wherever you're on, yeah. And you get a peek into something that you didn't know about. And that's what I like about the internet, and that's what I like about meeting people in real life and being in different situations. You get a peek, like talk to the guy about gentrification. He got a peek into a world he knew nothing about that I understood. Do you know what I mean? But generally in his circle, he would never know that. He would never have anybody talking to him about the reality of gentrification. He's just thinking about Starbucks. I'm thinking about families and people. Do you know what I mean? He's thinking about his coffee.
That's the good and bad of Twitter, though. I think. I think that where it has its bubbles, it's good because you can find something or a group of people that you can kind of identify with. But sometimes it can be annoying. So, like, I'll give you an example. So, like, I would say the majority of my followers now are educators because they know my profession. I speak, I write about education often. But, like, people in education Twitter can be annoying. Like, like I didn't ask to join this community. I'm a part of it, and that's completely fine. But like they'll be arguing and talking about stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't care about all of this. Which is why, personally, I don't just follow everybody and anybody. Like, I know people have their perceptions around followers or whatever. For me, it's just like, if you talk or you represent something that I like, and I actually use bios to do that. I don't always even just look at people's tweets or whatever. And sometimes I just don't see people's following me. So I don't go from a followers list to then be like, oh, let me follow this person. If you might have followed me for 5 months, I haven't seen it. But if something comes up on my timeline and I click on your page and I'm like, oh, I think I like what this person's about, I'm gonna follow you. But then my point in all of that anyway was just that, like, there are people that are very, very annoying within education Twitter. And so, like, and that's all they talk about. They're arguing about stuff. And I'm just like, you lot are grown adults. You're representing the profession. Like, you've literally put assistant head or Senko or whatever it is in your bio. And you lot are arguing like children in the playground on the timeline, like representing your schools or whatever it is. Childish. So I just, you never catch me in any of that passer. I don't like it. But then what I've always said, and you get a few like, you get a few educated tweeters, if that's a word. Like, they will often say like, oh, like, you know, do you guys ever talk about anything else other than education? Like, I wonder if I should talk. And I'm like, hell yeah. You think I'm gonna be on the timeline all day talking about education? Same way I'm not gonna be on the timeline all day talking about racism. I make it very clear, especially even in my bio, I'm a Senko, I'm an educator, soon to be an assistant head. I love Arsenal, regrettably. You know, I'm part of a podcast. Like, I give you my whole self. So if you follow me, you're not following me for one particular thing. You're going to hear me talk about peanut butter randomly on rice. You're going to hear me talk about yam and egg. We'll talk about that another time.
We'll talk about that off air.
You're going to hear me talk about, like, football. You're going to hear me grilling Chelsea. You get it? Like, that's you're getting my whole self. And I do think sometimes people get too, like, hung up on, like, a persona and what they are and who they represent, and then you cause friction and then the argument, and then it shows itself anyway. So if you ever see me getting into an argument with someone, just know I must have been.
Someone's taking over your account.
I was ticked off. You must have annoyed me because I'm not on there for like pass or whatever. So if you see me respond to something or like, you know, I'm clearly going back and forth with someone, maybe you might need to tell me like, yo, just chill out. It's not that deep. But more times because I care about that particular topic, whatever it's about.
Oh, you know,
So
I
you're
don't
gonna
care.
get my whole self, and obviously there's something to be said about. So there's being your authentic self, and there's also me being smart in actually understanding that there's things I won't say and can't say, and there's a way to say certain things. And actually, if I don't feel like I can say it in the way that I want to say it, I might not just say it. I might not say it at all. And understanding that I represent myself, I represent my school. If you know where my school is, I don't put that kind of stuff online, but I don't care if you find it because I'm never going to say anything that's going to put myself or my school in jeopardy, you know. But it's understanding that when I'm online,
It's reputation.
there's a risk in being someone. I don't even like the word public figure, but you know, I'm in the public eye. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find me, you can find my name. So I have to be cautious in the content that I put, what I associate myself with, and all of that. And I think that's another conversation for another day. But people aren't very savvy or understand that part about the internet too. They almost think they can say and do anything.
People
And it's
don't
like, well,
realise
you can't.
The internet is forever. Like
There you
even
go.
if you delete it, it's not really deleted. If you know someone's smart enough, they can pull it up. One, someone could screenshot it. If you put something out on the internet, it's forever. Like Google's got it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that's what people don't get. You are who Google says you are, not who you think you are. Like back in the day, if you did something wrong in your area, it would be in a newspaper. Then that would be it, and it disappear. No one can find it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's the people around at the time. Maybe they heard about it or whatever. Right? That was it. Now you do something, it's on the internet. Someone's downloading it, uploading it somewhere else, screenshotting it, putting it somewhere else, saving it in their phone.
Hard
And
drive.
5 years later, hard drive, it just pops up. Boom. Oh yeah, and ruin your whole reputation. Everything's reputation. Everything you type is reputation. Do you know what I mean? If I come here today and I'm doing some foolishness, dancing on a table, and I come drunk or something like that, that's my reputation. You just met me. You guys just met me today.
But I'm
You
glad.
might have seen what I said on the internet, but it's like, no, but his reputation's just ruined. He's just a drunk man.
But I'm glad you said that because that is the fickleness that comes with the internet, and I think that's what you have to be aware of. Which is why I think about what Dean said earlier, and it's not that we're trying to replace our friendships, our physical friendships with people with the internet. There's just an appreciation or an understanding that we can say quite clearly and comfortably, you can make friends on the internet and you can build relationships. But the dangerous part about making friends on the internet is, to an extent, they still don't know you. They don't know you. Because how many times have we seen in the last 5 years, since cancel culture has begun, we follow people, might follow them for 5-10 years, you've been retweeting their stuff, chatting, whatever. And then someone pulls up a tweet that they said, maybe when you followed them or before you followed them or once upon a time, you might have even been there when they were tweeting it, been a part of it. And all of a sudden, so if you wasn't aware of it before, my point is that your whole perception now could change. You'd be like, what? They said what? They represent this, this and that. Now, obviously, that's a very nuanced conversation because what someone says 7-10 years ago shouldn't, it's not always that's what they are now. But my whole point is that person could look at that person and very quickly be like, oh, sorry, you're not my friend, or I let's cancel them. And so someone that you think you've built a great relationship or a rapport with very quickly can either not defend you or very quickly cancel you. And your friends from school that they know all your dirt anyway. You know what I did. So you can't cancel me the same way I can't cancel you. But it's like you got that safe space there, whereas on the internet, it's not a safe space.
What kind of friends you have in it? Because who do you really know? Because I'll tell you something, in real life, we're all young here, and all young men in it. For the most part,
Thank you.
For the most part, we haven't, I hope anyway, we haven't had hard times. We ain't had to go to war. We ain't seen loads of our friends dying and loads of our families. For the most part, generally, on average, right? I'm telling you now, when you go through things, it's like stuff happens to you, and and you need people to really pick you up. You're really gonna see. I know it sounds like one of those Instagram quotes, saying, "Oh, you see your friends out when you go through stuff." No, for real. I'll tell you guys a story. So my sister died 8 years ago, right? She was 7 years old. Yeah, the friends I had were not good friends to me. Were not good friends to me at all. I needed help. I went to the deepest hell. Like I was in hell, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I needed help. They did not help me at all. They laughed at me. They clowned me. Because funny enough, like, so prior to my sister dying, she died in January. Prior to that, in October, so 2016, I was dumped by a girl. But we were in this close circle. So we all hung around each other. So when I lost my mind because my sister died, there was, because your girl dumped you, because your girl dumped you. No, my sister died. And I needed help. For real. For like the next 18 months, I was a goner, bruv. Like, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was resurrected, bruv. Like, so, and that was because of the wife I have now. She came and got me. Do you know what I mean? And so long story short, but so I met her when I was about 17, she was 16, and we were hanging around the same Bible study together, right? And then just life, and then, you know, you go this way, you go that way, whatever. Then that happened, and I called her, and she came. And then she thought I was all good, and she thought, oh, you got a friend. And then as it was kind of just reconciling again, she saw that these friends ain't your friends. They ain't giving you the support you need. Do you know what I mean? So yes, if you have good friends, and most people do have good friends, sometimes you don't have good friends, man. Do you know what I mean? And these are people I knew from Bible studies. So we're all Christians. We all came up together on this Christian thing for years and years. And I didn't have good friends. And I went into a deeper, darker place because I didn't have good friends. And every time I went deeper, they stepped on me even more because I couldn't get myself up because I needed friends. Do you know what I mean? To pull me out. I was drinking every day. I'm talking about 9 a.m. I had Courvoisier, bro, drinking it like it was water. I was just walking around. You wouldn't know I was drunk.
Do you think the reason why your friends, I don't know how many, don't know who they are.
And my cousin was part of that too.
Okay. So do you think, looking at that in detail, do you think the reason why they weren't good friends to you was because they didn't know how to in that particular moment? Because many people are great at being friends with people when
it's good,
when you're up.
It's
easy.
Things are rosy.
It can be infectious. You know, yo, you're good. You going out tonight? Yeah, I want to go out with, you know. But when things are not going so great, and it's a combination of sometimes you're not very forthcoming, not you, but generally speaking, from experience, you're not always forthcoming with your own issues, particularly as men. And then as men growing up, quite a number of us, we're also not very good at being able to express ourselves, but to help others when they're low. It's just not, I don't think it's a given. I don't think you can expect every single one of your individual friends to know how to do that and do it well.
I was hanging around every day. I was there every day.
So do you think it's a lack of them not knowing how to in hindsight, or do you think it was like they knew how to, but it was just a thing where they just weren't great friends and there's no regrets around that? Like they just,
I can say they weren't great friends. Okay, I can say they weren't great friends because I don't talk to any of them now. Yeah, so, like it's a long story,
but their character, not just how they handled that, but
just bad character altogether.
Just them as people.
Yeah, just bad character altogether. And we were young, so when I was like 22. But they didn't let me breathe. So they knew I was an alcoholic, and they're like, oh yeah, you're drinking too much. But that was when I became a problem for the friendship group. When I was doing silly things when we were out. When I was falling asleep on the bench and nobody knew where I was. And I would make my way back to, we had a little office, made my way back to the office and said, oh yeah, I was drunk and high and I disappeared. Do you know what I mean? That was a thing I was doing.
So do you think they saw you as a liability?
Yeah. It was one of those things was like, yo, you're just bringing the whole group down. Like, you're not getting a haircut. All these kind of stuff. And it was like, I need to breathe. Like, I can't breathe. Do you know what I mean? And nobody gave me the grace or the compassion to be like, yo, this guy's going through something. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking about a friendship group of like 14 people, men and women. Do you know what I mean? We were young and we were doing stuff, but and that's why I say, like, you really find out, like, if your wife leaves you, who is going to hold you as your bro? Do you know what I mean? Even if or your mom dies. Do you know what I mean? God forbid all these things, of course. Yeah. Or you lose your job and it hits you hard. Who's gonna lend you? How many of your friends gonna lend you money and say, yo, every time I get paid, I'm gonna send you 5 bills, man. Don't tell the wife. Just pay your bills and act like you got it going on. Do you know what I mean? When you're homeless, you know why people are homeless? Men are homeless. They don't have no friend. Because if you're homeless and I'm your brother, come to my house. My dad, yeah. So just before last year pandemic, my dad has 12 kids. 12 kids, yeah. I'm the youngest boy.
He was busy.
He's a busy guy. He's Caribbean, innit? He's a busy guy. 12 kids, right? I'm the youngest boy. And then I think there's like 4 other girls after me. He he got in trouble with his missus again. So she kicked him out the house, right? This is Christmas Day. So I've gone to pick up my dad on Christmas Day for him to come and stay with me, my son and my missus in my house, in my little house, right? My daddy's like 60 years old, man. So he's got 12 kids. He asked his other kids, they all said no. And he's come to meet his youngest son. We just moved out just about. If I didn't say yes to my dad and allow my dad to sleep in my living room, he would have been a homeless man, because his other kids who have 2, 3 bedrooms didn't want to say yes to him. They're older, they're like 40 years old. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, when you need somebody, when you need your friends, that's when you get to see who your real friends actually are. It's easy to be your friend when you got a job, you got a wife, you got money, you got a car, you know, you're going on a holiday, you got all of this, you got swag. When you ain't got none and you need help, who can help you?
The reason why I like that you brought that up here is because the reality of it is when we speak about friends, a lot of the time we speak about it from the perspective of us wanting to receive good friendship, and so we judge what it looks like based on how people have given it to us. But I could honestly say I don't necessarily think I've been a great friend to people who might have classed me as a friend.
I think we can all agree with that.
And that's why it's complex.
Yeah.
So that, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes friendship, it can be confusing, because you know how I was saying earlier, there's things that I value that equates to friendship. It's not always the same thing, but I just sense it. I get a connection. There are people that I have been associated with for the majority of my life, and you would say that that's them two, you know, or you would assume that. But in hindsight, I never really once felt that they were my friend. Our relationship was based on proximity more than friendship. In that whole time, you weren't ever really a good friend to me. But, and this isn't being big-headed, I think I was being a great friend.
No, you can say that. Yeah,
I know I can say it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it because I know it.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
I was being a great friend to you all of those years, decade long, whatever, like more than that. But in hindsight, I wasn't a great friend to you. And I think this is why sometimes proximity can kind of create the illusion that people around you are your friends.
Yeah.
But they're not. You're tied to them because of proximity. You get it? Kind of like family in a sense. You can't choose your family. It's different, I know, but you're born into a family where you've got brothers and sisters. They're your brothers and sisters. You didn't ask for them, so you hope that you like them, but you might not like them, but they're family. In the same way, you can grow up in an area or grow up with people, you know them, but they're not your friends. It's only until you move out to uni or when you move away from the area that you're able to either reflect or realize and understand, oh, whoa, actually, I found our friendship didn't really have no real foundation.
No ground.
There was no basis to what it was. And also within that relationship, I was being a good friend to you for the majority of the time, I believe. But looking back at it, you weren't to me, because the things I could think of that I've done for you, you haven't done for me. And that's not to say that, you know, every time I do something for you, I want you to give it back to me in that same way. I'm just saying, generally speaking, I don't feel like I got the best type of friendship I could get from you specifically. And so when I then decide to just not really engage in this lack of friendship, I don't hate you. I don't despise you. I just don't want to put my energy into this one-way friendship thing again. And I think that's a difficult conversation that people, especially men, don't have, because the reality of it is I haven't had this explicit conversation with the person I'm talking about, and so it's more of an elephant in the room. There's a lack of understanding from all parties, between the two individuals, between people that thought we were friends, and it's like, oh, what's happened there, whatever. But if they really understood, or if I maybe came out and said, well, this is why, you know, all these years you didn't do this for me, or I was always doing that for you, but I realized, one, you didn't appreciate it, two, you made me feel like this, you did these on these particulars, but it's like I haven't done all of that, and I don't really care to anymore. But I can also see from the outside where it's just like, whoa, what happened there?
Mm.
And so that's why I was saying that sometimes how people view friendships as well could be quite skewed. Because I know on the other side, he'll look at me and say, dead friend. You know, but more so because of recent times, not because of... If he said that about our friendship going back from when we were kids, then you can get lost. I don't even care. That's your opinion. I could say in recent years, but the reason why it's like that in recent years is more so because it's been intentional from my point of view to not engage. So I'm not a friend to you because I'm not trying to be a friend to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not that I'm being a dead friend. I'm not being a great friend to you. But I can also see from their point of view where it's just like, oh, as far as I was concerned, things were going in a certain way and it's just kind of cut dead. And we'll talk about that after, because I did see a post recently about some guy posted it and then a blog page retweeted it or reposted it. And it was basically saying that it's all right, you know, to grow up and to let go of people.
100%.
Or it's all right for you to outgrow people in relationships. It's all right for you to not speak to people anymore. But what I liked about what he said was that, but I still got love for you. Like anyone that I'm talking about, I got love for them. I have experiences with them. I got memories with them. I don't hate you.
Another way,
But we're just, we don't have the same energy. You partake in things I don't care to take part in anymore. I tell you stuff, you don't listen. I'm in situations all the time because of you. And so I get it how it could look like, oh, like you might think like you're better than this. No, I'm just saying from my point of view, I got things to think about now. I got a family, I got my reputation, I got my career. I can't call me to come down to Whitechapel because you got passer like we did when we were 16. I've already been bottled once or twice on your behalf. I ain't doing that again. I ain't doing that again at 31. Bro, coming home with a bottle. What happened to you? Oh, I got into passer because so and so called me. It's like, no, we ain't 16 no more.
Honestly.
So yeah, that was just my piece in it. That I think the whole friendship thing can be. It's a lot more complex. That's my whole point.
One funny thing I saw on Twitter was like, oh, you gotta stop, like your friends gotta do this and your friends gotta do that for you. Sometimes they could just hang around you and they ain't gotta like give you stuff. It's like no. Relationships are reciprocal. Do you know what I mean? That's the currency of every relationship. You do for me, I do for you, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like when you get older, you value valuable people that can do stuff for you and you can do stuff for them. The same energy. It needs to be reciprocated. You don't want a friend that it sounds harsh, but it's like is useless. I always used to say this back in the day, like, oh, if you're not being used, you're useless. If I can't offer you, how do I know Malik? From being useful for talking about content and branding, and he's got a brand. I'm useful. Help him do some YouTube covers. He sent me some oils so my skin look good and my beard look good, my struggling beard. Do you know what I mean? We're useful to each other. Why am I here? Because I can talk about something useful. I'm useful to him. When you get older, you don't need people you can just go and have a drink with. I can have a drink by myself. I can have a drink with anybody. I can go to the pub and like, oh, you sitting alone? Oh, come, let's talk, man. Why are you here alone? You need people that can actually help you get further in life. Because in your 20s, it's all fun. When you start getting to 30 and you want to get a wife, you want to get a husband, or you want to do something with your career, you need people that can help you take places and you can help them take them places as well. Why am I hanging around people that I can only bust joke with? I can go online and watch Murder Comedian and bust joke. I don't need friends I can just hang around with. I'm not hanging around. Life is mad short. And for me anyway, life is short. I had my sister at 7 years old, man. I could go anytime. God ain't respecting anybody can go anytime. I don't have time to be just, I'm just coming to chill, man.
Yeah, see,
I'm not saying I don't do that. I could do that, but for the most part, no. Again, we've got family to feed.
It's different. Yeah. I disagree personally with that part though. I think we can have people that we just chill with.
I'm saying about my own experience.
For sure. Because what you value as well in that just chilling and someone being a clown or whatever, it might even go beyond the chilling part in the room. You get it, like they could also be reliable. They could also have other things or whatever. So I guess when you're talking about them like just
it's a
chilling,
fine line, innit?
yeah, it is a fine
it's a
line,
fine
innit?
line.
Because
Being a bit
even and obviously we have to be aware as well that when we say things on here without people knowing us and being friends, someone can hear what you just said and think that's extremely harsh, and I don't think that's harsh. Because as you were saying, I was thinking to myself, no, but it's true. It's true.
It's true, but it's
it's
just
not
a
being
fine
harsh.
line
Yeah,
between
the whole reciprocal thing.
Yeah.
It's like your friendships.
Not like, you
there's
can do this
something
for me. You're not writing it down, innit?
yeah, aside from I think our childhood friendships, though, I think that's
Yeah.
where it's different. I think with a lot of our childhood friendships, it isn't based off of
Yeah, it's just love, innit? It's
what
like
you
my
can
brother and my
do.
sister now.
A lot of the time, I think
Yeah.
it's just like you just know each other. You love
Yeah.
the person.
Yeah.
What that is, you might not even be able to explain it. You just love them,
Yeah, it's my
and
brother
so
and my
they're the
sister
kind
now.
of people that
Yeah.
you probably will just have chilling with you.
Yeah.
Like you don't do anything for me. You can't do anything for me. You have nothing. Not even
I
in
know
a
what you're
harsh
saying, I
way,
know
but
what you're
you don't
Yeah.
add to my business. You don't add
Yeah,
to my
yeah.
profile,
I know
whatever.
what you're saying.
But you're just my boy,
Yeah.
and I want you to come over tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that you have that were like that.
That's
that,
the romantic, man.
I mean, listen. Let's not get Quest. If we get Quest and we get Toby on this show, they start giving us some new names about romantic friendships and the meaning of it and stuff. That's for part 2. Malik's shaking his head. You don't like those conversations. The homoeroticism conversation is still rattling Malik. But yeah, no, go on.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you.
But no, you're right, I guess, and I think that was that. To be fair, we're gonna have to close very, very soon. But that what you just said there is true. I think, generally speaking, we look at our relationships, and especially when you get older,
You start to.
how are you adding value, or how are you adding
I'm
to
just
me,
wasting my time.
or
man.
even just energy? Like, don't come around me complaining and moaning.
That, mate.
Or bringing your drama. It's one thing. It's one thing bringing your issues that I can maybe help you. But if you come with issues and I advise you and you go away and you still do your madness, don't come back to me again.
Big facts. And do you know what? That's true, man. It's the energy. It's do you know what I mean? Don't come with the complaints or like the doubt or like. Do you know what it is as well? I'm one of them ones. I like to cultivate my space every now and again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like for me, it's like. I always try to like just understand, innit? Like my people that are around me now are people that are around me now. Like they're my peoples, innit, kind of thing. And just going off what he said, like definitely, I feel that's so valuable for me. So because sometimes I just want to chill with my brethren. Like I literally don't even want to put too much thought in what we're talking about. Just play a little FIFA, a little Monopoly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean, kind of thing? And then but then that's another thing as well. Like even like my career, like. Being an actor or whatever, like I got friends around me that, but I am involved in my management because they know me, even like my close friends from little, they know like the little things, the little conversations we'll talk about, the little mad ones about changing the world or whatever, them mad little deep combos that you have with your brethren. And I got this brethren, he always like even when I wasn't on my stuff, like he was like, blood, make sure you get on your, bruv, have you done this? Have you? And I'm like, rah, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? So for me, it's like, there's a different dynamics where it's like, nah, I got brethrens that they actually care, not bare, but the one or two that care and that want me to like, genuinely want me to prosper. I want me to like push on to whatever I'm doing. And I say that to say this, sometimes like, we say about safe spaces, about like venting and whatever, and being able to complain, but also you want to be able to feel like you can share, like when something good happens to you with your friends, you know what I'm trying to say, kind of thing, and not have a feel or sense of like, bro, I can ring my man and tell him this has just happened, and he'll be just as excited. Do you know what I'm trying to say, kind of thing? But I can't do that with all my bridges. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because it's just like I know, like. I've got to like take time in my head, and it's like as well that energy. Like I'm not gonna tell a man something and they're gonna give me back, and I feel deflated. Like, I just told you something good. Do you know? In my head, I'm thinking, but then I've learned from experience. I'm like, do you know what? It's not even because a man's not happy for red tete, but it's just probably the space for someone's in kind of thing, or our rapport's not like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So again, it's all about like I love like because I'm a man. I always like. I've got a lot of energy. So I love to encourage people in it kind of thing. I'm not saying that I want people to encourage me, but I just love energy that I give out being reciprocated. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And not feeling like, oh, I'm doing too much, or oh,
Yeah.
do you know what I'm trying to say? I hate that sense of do you know what I'm trying to say? Because that's when I remove myself from a situation straight away. So yeah, it's just understanding sometimes.
You need that again, like you said, reciprocated energy.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like for instance, like for the most part, when like you say, oh yeah, I got this new acting job, I might not think that's the most best thing in the world because I'm not an actor, so I don't know what that means to you. But if that's for me personally, when someone says, oh, I got a new acting job, oh, I got a new hat, oh, I got a new car, if you're excited about it and it's good for you, I might not care about it. That's nothing to do with me. It's good for you. I'm like, yo, hey, bruv, sick, man. I might know nothing about no acting, no hat, no car, no nothing. But if you are excited because you got a job or something like that or whatever, or you started your business and you are super excited about it, for the most part, because people don't rate it, because maybe not because they don't rate it, but because they're not as interested in let's say acting as much as you are, they don't really reciprocate the energy because it's like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds good. You know, sounds good. They don't really get how good it is for you. A lot of people can't reciprocate and bounce back energy because again, maybe they're mood, maybe they're not on that day, but
or maybe they're just not happy. And some people are just unhappy within themselves.
And
they're your friends or acquaintances
people,
or even family friends. And if they're not happy within themselves and you try and bring them great news about how well you're doing and success and stuff, they just might genuinely not be able to show happiness because they're not happy.
Time, especially on Twitter, somebody will say, oh, I got a new car, or I got a new house, and they'll be like, oh, how did she get the money, or how this, and you can say like, why, what's your problem? That's why I don't go onto the internet and tell anybody anything, man. Just me and my wife just be having a drink together, but
but again, that comes with the internet, innit? You put out that kind of information on the internet, you're gonna get people that are happy for you. You're going to get people that are fake happy for you, and you're going to get people that tell you, you robbed the bank for that.
Somebody posts free cars.
That just comes with the internet. If you tell your one or two boys that you trust and that you know are going to be happy for you, the problem's solved. Yeah, my mum taught me that lesson from young. She always said, you know, you don't tell everybody your success. You know, don't tell them what you want to do either. You tell them when you've got it. And where I agree with that, it's an overarching kind of comment and statement that she makes that sometimes I have to say to her, listen, mum, not everybody wishes down, like, you know, death on me or whatever, but she just looks at it from a point of view where it's just like, she's quite spiritual. It's just like, if you want to protect your energy, keep things to yourself.
Mum's African, yeah?
Mum's Nigerian, yeah. So she don't play with that stuff, you know. She'll be like, if you got something coming up,
in Africa, everyone's
don't
paranoid,
tell people.
Man. Everyone's paranoid.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. We're protecting ourselves.
It's because of the
culture we've grown up in.
I'll go beyond the culture. I think it's the history of the Yoruba people and I think just the religious influences in that particular area. There's more to just Nigeria than Christianity and Islam, and I'll leave that there for you to do your own research on YouTube. So but listen, guys, it's been a great episode. We've been going for over an hour.
Nice.
Listen, Brian, it was great to have you come here, talk about your expertise briefly, but more about your personal experiences. So thank you for being honest and sharing that. Dean, once again, it's great to have you on the podcast today.
Pleasure.
Before we go, I'm going to bless you guys and be a good friend to you. See what I did there? Going to give you an opportunity to get a discount code. So if you go onto the website, www.goodmanfactory.com, type in GPOD1, and you can get yourself a 15% discount code. That's GPOD1. Get yourself a good discount code. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you again for listening. Peace out. Bye.